NFL reporter James Palmer has cleared the air on his viral Garrett Wilson report that we saw last week, as new Jets GM Darren Mougey has a lot of Garrett Wilson decisions to be coming in the future for the New York Jets, and we got to break it all down here on Jets Digest. So what's up, guys? I'm Matt Long. Before we hop into the video, only 19.8% of viewers are subscribed to the channel. So if you are not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. It really helps me out a lot, helps Chris out a lot. But hopping right into the news for today, what we saw coming out a couple days ago out of JPA football, there was a rumor that many insiders believed that New York Jets star wide receiver Garrett Wilson was going to be requesting a trade out of New York, mainly due to the team's constant turnover at quarterback and head coach. This report went everywhere. Every single news outlet was picking up on this, and I have no doubt that everyone watching this video saw this report coming out. But the important part from this report is to take a look at the credit at the end, per James Palmer TV. Now, James Palmer TV is an NFL reporter with Underdog Sports as well as some other outlets, but he tweeted out as well after this. Someone, Jet Situation Report, asked him about this tweet, and he said, "This is not really what I said." So yeah, frustrating for all of us. So if you were worried about this Garrett Wilson report, there is significantly less to worry about now, because James Palmer has came out and said, that's not what I said. So the original person who put this out just put out a false report for clicks, which is huge news for the New York Jets, because there have been way too many rumors about our star wide receiver wanting a trade. And honestly, I'm sick of it. When you look up New York Jets news, which I do every single day for this channel, all I can find is the Packers want Garrett Wilson, the Commanders want Garrett Wilson, the Steelers want Garrett Wilson. I see Bills fans for some reason thinking they can have Garrett Wilson. We're not giving one of our rivals, also Patriots fans too, we're not giving one of our rivals one of the best wide receivers in the league, one of the best young potential superstar wide receivers coming out into the league. We're not giving that away to a rival. And I certainly, unless he is going to be requesting a trade here, demanding a trade, we will not be moving Garrett Wilson. So this is very important going forward, because the New York Jets, of course, want to hang on to Garrett Wilson. Taking a look at what his stats have looked like this season, he of course played 17 games. He had 101 catches, racking up 1,104 yards on the season. This, of course, is going to put him in line for a massive payday coming soon here, as Darren Mougey and Aaron Glenn need to make a decision on which players are going to be staying with the New York Jets and which guys aren't going to be with the New York Jets going forwards here. So, of course, the first decision with Garrett Wilson is whether they pick up his fifth-year option or not. I'm going to break the news here right now. They're picking up the fifth-year option. If you don't know what a fifth-year option is, when you are a receiver drafted in the first round, you get a contract which is 4 years plus a team option. So that fifth year is called the fifth-year option. The team gets a decision whether they want to accept your fifth-year option or decline it. If they accept it, you are now under contract for an additional fifth year, and it is on a contract that is much bigger than the rookie deal, but it's nowhere close to what you would be getting if you were a free agent at that position. That this is another reason why first-round picks are so valuable, because only first-round picks come with this first-year option, and it's an opportunity to keep really, really good players on smaller contracts. So it's helpful for the GMs to manage their salary cap while still putting out a really good football team on the field. And this is also why in the first round you want to go out and draft elite, very important position players, because you want to pick the positions that are expensive: quarterback, wide receiver, edge rusher. Because if you hit, you can get a really, really good player at a position that is very expensive on a very cheap cost. We see Garrett Wilson, have been paying him almost nothing. Sauce Gardner, we've been paying him almost nothing. And the teams on the quarterback, this fifth-year option is so important that teams are structuring their entire future around quarterbacks on their rookie deal. Right now, the meta, if you will, in the NFL, the goal is to go out and win while your quarterback's still on his rookie deal. And what they do is they draft a quarterback in the first round. They put the best team around him that they possibly can. And once that quarterback has to be paid, they pay him a ton. And then they go let the weapons walk and hope the quarterback can manage. Sometimes they can, sometimes they can't. But getting back to Garrett Wilson here, he is going to be getting this fifth-year option. The question is, what kind of money is he going to sign, and will he sign a contract this year? I absolutely believe he will be signing a contract this year, because that's what we've seen other wide receivers do in the past. Garrett Wilson, his stats do not demand the Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson top tier type of contract, but it certainly demands the second level of contract. We've here at Jets Digest been calling it the Jalen Waddle contract. For reference, Jalen Waddle is on a 3-year, $84.75 million contract. That is $28.25 million per year. We can expect Garrett Wilson to get something like that. However, another decision that Mougey and Aaron Glenn have to make here is with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, of course, being a package deal with Davante Adams. But what people are thinking right now is that Garrett Wilson does not want to play with Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers. So if those guys are back, that makes Garrett Wilson more likely to demand a trade. Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams, of course, have that long history in Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers likes to play buddy ball with Davante Adams. He's going to give him the most targets on the team. Garrett Wilson, what he believes, Garrett Wilson in his head, he's the best receiver in football, and I love that mentality from him. But Garrett Wilson is not happy at all with that. He wants to be the number one guy on the team. He has to be the number one wide receiver, the number one target getter, the guy with the most yards, the guy with the most touchdowns. And on most teams in the NFL, he would be that guy. But unfortunately for him, the New York Jets do have another really good wide receiver. Personally, I think Garrett Wilson is better than Davante Adams at Davante Adams this stage in his career. So I think Garrett Wilson does deserve more targets than Davante, but Aaron Rodgers is going to throw to whoever he wants to throw to. We know Aaron Rodgers has his own styles of playing offense where he calls a bunch of audibles, he throws to open space, or sometimes doesn't throw exactly where the route calls for the throw to go, but he expects his wide receiver to read the defense and adapt his route to the defense, and he expects the receiver to end up in this different spot where the ball is ending up. And it's worked out really well in the past with Aaron Rodgers, but not every wide receiver in the NFL is able to do that. We saw a lot of guys like Tyler Conklin, Garrett Wilson, Mike Williams really struggled on the Jets doing that this year with Aaron Rodgers, while Davante Adams clearly has that chemistry with Aaron Rodgers, so he's going to be really good at doing that. So does Davante Adams actually make it more likely for Garrett Wilson to demand a trade? I absolutely believe it does because, like I said, Garrett Wilson wants to be the guy, and he deserves to be the guy. He's a really, really good football player. So this report was very scary because there have been a number of piling up reports suggesting that Garrett Wilson was going to be demanding a trade in this offseason. Just because this report isn't true, that doesn't completely dispel the possibility of Garrett Wilson demanding this trade. If you are looking at what he has done on the field and what the New York Jets have put on the field around him, he deserves to be able to demand this trade. If you think the Jets don't deserve, that you think that Garrett Wilson deserves to be stuck here with the New York Jets, and just because they own his contract rights, they can hold on to him, that's just completely wrong. But, I mean, anyone can think whatever they want to think. I'm just here to present the facts. I'm not here to tell people how to think. But Garrett Wilson definitely deserves to get his money, and he deserves to be somewhere that treats him like the number one wide receiver that he is. The contract that he's going to sign is going to be heavily dependent on his stats, and if Davante Adams is here messing up his stats, he knows that's going to happen. The New York Jets can, of course, extend that olive branch and say, we know your stats should be better and would be better had Davante Adams not be being fed by Aaron Rodgers, and they may pay him more. I think that would be a very classy move. However, being nice to players in contract negotiations isn't really the best strategy from a GMing perspective because you get guys on bigger contracts than their numbers suggest that they deserve. But down the line, that may end up looking like a really, really smart idea at the time. Or Darren Mougey might just get made fun of constantly for giving Garrett Wilson way too much money. But I really hope Garrett Wilson does not demand a trade. He's my favorite player on the team. Don't want to see him going anywhere. But if you guys enjoyed the video, please hit a like, hit the subscribe button if you are new to the channel. And as always, go Jets.